Hello everyone, I am back once again, and I am going to be showcasing another Wi-Fi match for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. My opponent for this match is going to be IAMBLADE229 this time, and I believe this is the guy that actually specified that he wanted to do a mixed OU match, so yeah, because of that I'm going to actually try to be using the Sharpedo team once again, and I'm going to see if I can actually do stuff with it again, obviously. As you can see, his team is actually going to consist of a few underused mons, such as the Lickylicky and the Viper. I think Honchkrow is also RU, so that's also something worth noting. But yeah, he still has scary things on his team, obviously, such as the Lucario, the Mamoswine, and the Salamence, actually. Because Mamoswine, yeah, that thing is a real hard hitter, and I think with the team that I have right now, I don't really have a lot of switch-ins to that, actually. In fact, I think it actually covers the majority of my team, and the only thing that can really take anything from this thing is the Clefable. In fact, I think because of that, I think my lead here for this match is actually going to be the Clefable. For that, and also just for the fact that I can maybe get rocks up as well. And if Mamoswine keeps on coming in, it can take rocks damage as well. Basically crippling that thing as much as possible is the priority, because I don't have a lot of switch-ins to that. And he's going to be forcing me to switch out a lot of the time, so at least punish him for every time he brings the Mamoswine in. But yeah. So here, I'm just hoping that leading Clefable doesn't actually cause my opponent to want to like lead something like maybe the Viper as well, because the Viper can be dangerous for Clefable. Because I don't have the coverage for poison types and whatnot on Clefable, that is. So yeah. Now here, he's gonna lead off with Lucario, which, yeah, it's kind of a bad matchup for Clefable. It's not too bad though, but it obviously depends on the set of Lucario, obviously. If it's a setup set, this is kind of scary. But if it's just like just an attacking Lucario with no setup whatsoever, then this should be doable. I should be able to take at least one Meteor Mash and then go for some damage with the Moonblast. But I don't think I end up doing that actually, because I just didn't want Clefable to take any damage given that the Mamoswine is still on the team. So because of that, I'm actually gonna switch in the Arcanine to get the Intimidate off, hoping that it'd be a physical variant of Lucario. And if it isn't, then that's a rip me, obviously. And I was hoping that the Intimidate would actually lower his attack, but unfortunately, this thing turned out to have Inner Focus. And to make matters worse, it has Nasty Plot, so my Arcanine literally can't do much to this thing unless I outspeed this thing, which I don't know if I could because I'm actually adamant on this Arcanine. But as you can see, the Lucario ends up outspeeding me anyway, so this means that this was a timid Lucario, which makes sense because it does have setup, obviously. And I end up losing my Arcanine to a Water Pulse of all things. I was actually expecting the Aura Sphere, honestly, but I was actually flabbergasted at the fact that he actually had the freaking Water Pulse on this thing. I didn't really see any reason to run it unless he just wanted to bring heat for this match, which is possible. I think that's what makes the mixed OU team, or tier, or I don't even know if that's a tier, honestly. Like the mixed OU matches, basically, is what makes them fun, basically, is that you get to bring all kinds of weird sets. But yeah. Here I'm just going to bring in Flygon, and I was kind of expecting a Vacuum Wave as a last ditch to get damage, but he probably just didn't go for it because he was probably anticipating me to actually go for a Dragon Dance, and obviously I didn't go for that, so yeah, I take out the Lucario, thankfully, so I don't have to worry about that thing setting up in my face again. So now comes the Mamoswine, and this thing is obviously a threat because this thing could Ice Shard me, so I hard switching Clefable anticipating the Ice Shard, because with Ice Shard alone he could take me out unless he expects me to have a Yache Berry, which I don't have on this thing, and I don't even know if it's coming on Flygon. Surprisingly enough, he's actually going to go for not the Icicle Crash, but the Icicle Spear actually, which is kind of a weird move, honestly. Like, why on earth would you even have that? Like, Mamoswine certainly doesn't have Skill Link. But you're going to see right here that why he has Icicle Spear. Again, I think it's probably just because the guy's trying to bring some heat or something. But yeah, it's like, it is still kind of scary, obviously, because as you can see, RNG isn't necessarily the nicest to me, obviously, and I do flinch, which kind of tells me that this might be a King's Rock Mamoswine, unless Icicle Spear naturally does flinch or have a chance to flinch, which would be kind of crazy, but I don't think it ever has had that chance to flinch, honestly. I think that only happens if it has King's Rock. So yeah, this is probably a King's Rock Mamoswine, if anything. So yeah. Fortunately enough, my Clefable was able to at least take the hits well enough for me to just get the rocks up, because that's what I really wanted to get on this match. The downside is that now Clefable isn't like totally weakened, so now it's pretty much not going to be able to do anything. Here I was looking at my team to see what I can do to get around this Mamoswine, because right now my Clefable can't do absolutely anything, and this was my only thing that can actually tank hits from the Mamoswine. But unfortunately got crippled. It even flinched, which I think really did matter, obviously, because I could have probably moonlighted later. But now I can't, so that's terrible for me. So obviously I was just like, you know what, I'll just let this thing go down. He does switch it up to Earthquake, interestingly enough, but probably anticipating me to switch, but I don't really know into what, because Tangrowth resists Earthquake, and Flygon's immune to it, so he probably just went for it just to take me out, like, in a different way. That, and I think Icicle Spear might have a chance to miss. I don't even remember. Yeah, I don't remember. But either way, I'm just going to send in Raikou here. And just go for the Shadow Ball. Or, not the Shadow Ball, the Scald, obviously. Damn, I don't know why the hell I said that. I go for the Scald right here. And I do get the burn. The reason I send in Raikou, by the way, is just because I do have the Shuckle Berry on this. So I can take at least one Earthquake before getting damage off with this, Scald, and if for some reason this thing takes me out with Earthquake, like maybe by a crit or something, I could just finish this thing off with Sharpedo later, and at least have Sharpedo do some work and whatnot. But thankfully that won't be necessary, since now I'm gonna finish this thing off with a Shadow Ball, which in retrospect I feel like that was probably a bad thing, honestly. Like, I feel like I should have just kept going for the Scald, honestly, just because, you know, he does have the Lickylicky back there. If I went for Shadow Ball and he actually switched that in, would have taken no damage whatsoever. So that was kind of a bad play in my opinion. It is what it is though. So here he's gonna go into Seviper now, and obviously, like, I was trying to see if there was anything like I should worry about this thing. Like, I don't know if this thing can get Earthquake, honestly. I don't know why, but I kind of have the feeling that it might be able to learn Earthquake, but I actually don't know, because, you know, I don't do my research on these mods. I'm too lazy for that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was just looking at my team here to see if I could switch out like Flygon or something, maybe to put myself in a better position instead of just keeping this Raikou. But I decided ultimately, nah, just stay in and just go for Thunderbolt to see how much it does. I think that was another thing that I was kind of worried about, was that this Thunderbolt was not going to do anything to Seviper, but it did a lot actually. He also tries to go for Glare, which is kind of odd. It kind of makes me feel like maybe he did have Earthquake and probably was expecting me to switch out because of it. But I didn't, obviously, so I just take it out with another Thunderbolt. So this Seviper effectively did nothing, which is kind of funny in my opinion. But yeah, now here, I think he sends out the Lickylicky now. Oh no, not the Lickylicky, damn it, the freaking Salamence, man. It's because I'm terrible at remembering these matches, obviously. It's because these matches happened weeks ago, obviously. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, Salamence, not freaking Lickylicky. Lickylicky's probably later, definitely later actually. So here he's gonna get the Intimidate. That doesn't matter, obviously. I'm gonna go for a Thunderbolt. He goes for a Hydro Pump, which means that he's probably Scarfed, honestly. And he doesn't miss the Hydro Pump, so I don't take any damage. That's good for me. He's gonna go for another Hydro Pump, which again confirms the whole possibility of it being Scarfed, obviously. And I'm now gonna be able to just take this thing out with a Thunderbolt. So no threat from Salamence any longer, which is good for me, because this thing could be scary. Obviously, it could be a crazy late game sweeper or some shit. Although it doesn't have Moxie, so it's not too bad, honestly. But either way, it's gone now, so we don't gotta worry about it. Now, his penultimate mon right here is this Lickylicky. So yeah, this is obviously not gonna be very, very good, because these things are bulking, can definitely take special hits from Raikou, obviously. So I was trying to see if there's any way I can get around this. I think here I test my grounds and see how much Thunderbolt does, and if it does a decent amount, I might actually just stay in and just keep attacking it. But as you can see, that did absolutely nothing. Can you believe that? Raikou is deemed UUBL, almost OU tier material basically, and it can't even do anything to a mon that's considered PU, I believe? Either PU or NU, I don't know, but it's a very low tier, low-tiered mon, and obviously that's kind of what makes me never underestimate Lickylicky, or any underused mons for that matter. It's just because there's people who can actually make these things work, and I'm usually scared that I'm actually going to be the one to run into those people and whatnot. But yeah, so obviously now I'm going to switch out into Tangrowth, and I don't know why I didn't Volt Switch here, obviously. I could have definitely done that since his other mon is Honchkrow, and Honchkrow dies to Volt Switch if he tries to switch that in. So yeah. But anyways, here, this is the portion of the match that, this was like, damn, man. This is the portion of the match that drags for a long damn time between this Tangrowth and the freaking Lickylicky. It's because what happens is that this Lickylicky was just too bulky and it was going for curses, so obviously I needed a mon that can tank hits from this thing. And Tangrowth was my only other mon since Clefable's gone, obviously. And even then, I think Clefable was just not going to be able to do anything anyways, like even if it was still around, because this thing can take special hits very well. It's possible that this thing might have been like Careful Nature or something, given that, you know, Curse can actually, you know, basically raise the defense, so it doesn't need the investment per se. But yeah, here he's just gonna keep going for body slams. Basically, the gist of this this portion of the match is just that I go for Leash Seed so I can get HP back every time he tries going for body slam, and knock off the item obviously from this thing, so it stops recovering with leftovers. Because this thing recovering with leftovers after being so bulky is just probably the most obnoxious portion of this whole match. It's also obnoxious on any bulky mon in general. Hell, it's even annoying that I have it as well. But I kind of need it, obviously, if I want to actually get very far in these matches. Here, another thing I do is also put this thing to sleep. But you're going to see here that that's almost going to be like, not useless, but it definitely comes in handy. But it's just going to be a little bit inconvenient because he has the Sleep Talk on this thing. And Sleep Talk with Body Slam is just going to get guaranteed damage even when it's asleep. Well, not guarantee it, but it gives it a chance for me to actually, you know, or gives him a chance to actually attack me still, even though this thing's like now at +2, so it is a scary situation. Basically, a lot of things have to go right here. It also doesn't help that I'm also constantly getting paralyzed here. The only thing that's helping me still remain alive is the fact that this Lickylicky cannot knock me off, so I can still have my leftovers and get my Leech Seed recovery. And if he tries switching in Honchkrow, obviously it's just going to get Leech Seeded. What I'm trying to do is also just keep this Tangrowth healthy so that when the Honchkrow does come out, I can actually take a hit with it and maybe put that thing to sleep as well. Assuming that the Lickylicky is not asleep as well. Because then from there I'd be violating the sleep clause, and obviously that would not mean anything. Like, this match would be, you know, like I wouldn't win this match even if the game says that I won, because, you know, I'm trying to follow the Smogon rules, obviously. Like, obviously you could, like, in a casual, you know, situation, I probably would be able to actually put both of his monsters to sleep, but since I'm following the Smogon clause, I'm obviously, you know, kind of bound to its rules and whatnot. But yeah, so, yeah, I put this thing to sleep as always. Here I'm trying to see if I want to switch out, but obviously there's just still no options for me to want to switch out, obviously. So here I'm just continuing to basically go through all of this sleep talking shenaniganry, and sometimes he gets the calls right and sometimes he doesn't, and sometimes I get fully paralyzed, so sometimes I just can't do absolutely anything. And yeah, this kind of repeats itself for a good while, honestly. And yeah, like, there's not much to say honestly about this. It's just, I'm just waiting for this nonsense to end already. I was actually hoping that I can at least leave this thing in range for one of my other monsters to finish it off, but like, I really couldn't, because this thing was already like at +1 or 2 in defense and attack, and its Spadef is just too good, so I was literally just trapped with this Tangrowth. I think it was up to Tangrowth, if anything, to take this thing out. Cause yeah, like, damn, man. This is why I don't like bulky mons, because they just, like, yeah, they can set up and then just finish you off, but then you just can't do absolutely anything. You feel helpless in most situations. In fact, even though my Tangrowth was able to, like, maybe get around this stuff for the most part, like, it just felt very, like, I felt very impotent because I couldn't, like, just take this thing out in one shot, obviously. I had to play strategically while also kind of relying on RNG, but not to the extent that this guy did with getting the body slam paralysis and whatnot, and relying on me to get fully paralyzed so I can't do anything. I just have to rely on the fact that Sleep Powder doesn't miss, obviously, which thankfully has landed on the moments that I needed to. So here, yeah, more shenaniganries, obviously. Here, yeah, there's not much I can really say, honestly. I'm just gonna basically watch until this whole madness ends, because, god damn. I'll admit that I don't like matches that go like this, obviously. Like, I know what you people are thinking, but you have a Tangrowth, bro. Yeah, but this thing is just meant to put things to sleep, knock things off, Giga Drain, and switch out, obviously, but this Lickylicky just stays in, takes hits, sets up, and then nothing interesting happens. Especially when it's against another mon that can also recover. So this is just, it's just annoying overall. Like, yeah, like Tangro's annoying too, obviously, but god damn. Like, I don't know. I feel like Tangro plays the offensive game a little bit better than most bulky mons like Snorlax or Lickylicky, honestly. So, but that's just my opinion, obviously. I don't know any better, obviously. But either way, finally this damn madness ends, and he finally sends out Honchkrow. However, this match isn't without a conflict still. This Honchkrow, if he takes out one of my mons, he's gonna get the Moxie boost immediately, obviously. So I may have a 4-mon lead right now, but he can literally finish me off with this thing. Like, he can reverse sweep me with this Honchkrow if he gets all of the calls correct here. And what he's going to do right here, well, actually, what I do first is actually switch in the Raikou to see what move he goes for. He does go for the Brave Bird, and I kind of thought it was going to go down because Honchkrow is usually powerful. And had it been Life Orb, it probably would have gone down. But it wasn't Life Orb. In fact, I think this Honchkrow not being Life Orb actually might have actually saved me. Might have. Because it could have also gone down to its Life Orb, obviously, especially with the Brave Bird damage. So, yeah, I don't know. But it was possible. Like, it was just possible for him to have made a comeback. I don't know if he would have, like, finished it off, but he could have actually finished me off and gone down to his own Life Orb, but he would have still won because he would have taken all of my mons out first. But it seems like that didn't happen. Either way, so, yeah, obviously here I send in Tangrowth because I actually expected a Sucker Punch here. And obviously, now I'm going to try to go for the Sleep Powder and hope I can take a Brave Bird. Especially now that I know it's not going to be Life Orbed. And thankfully, I do put on 2 HP, so I'm kind of wondering if that was actually a roll or not. Because if it was a roll, I might have been lucky here, actually. And I could have lost, actually, at this point. Especially because this Honchkrow wasn't Life Orb, so that means that if every Moxie boost can really go a long way. But thankfully, that's not the case. I put this thing asleep. And what I'm actually going to do right here is actually switch in Sharpedo, because obviously no sleep turns were wasted yet. And I want to believe that because this thing never got the Moxie boost, that I can actually take 1 Sucker Punch from this thing. Since the power is still only 70, not 80 like it was in generations, I believe, 4 and below. So yeah, I wanted to believe I could take a Sucker Punch, especially since this thing is not Life Orbed. So yeah. If he wakes up and goes for that, I want to believe I can take it and just finish this thing off with Sharpedo. The reason why I sent in Sharpedo is just because I wanted to actually end the match with Sharpedo, because, you know, Sharpedo is my signature and I kind of want this thing to, you know, put in work at least for once, because it kind of hasn't been able to. Even though this is only, like, I think the 2nd match that I use this team in. But I don't know, man. I just really wanted to, like, get something going with Sharpedo, because that's why I use him, obviously. And thankfully, I'm glad that it happened in this match, obviously. This match was, damn. It was interesting until that whole shenaniganry with Lickylicky and Tangrowth happened, obviously. And I think Sharpedo being able to, like, finish the match off was actually, like, a nice little payoff, in my opinion. But, yeah, that's going to be the whole game, obviously. I don't know if I got anything to say on the matter. I guess, hooray, because I actually got to finish a game with Sharpedo. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it was like I said, it was an okay game. It was just that portion with Lickylicky and Tangrowth was pretty obnoxious. But other than that, this match was pretty fun, actually. Thank you all for watching this match, by the way. Hope to catch you guys for another Wi-Fi match. For now, just take it easy and have yourselves a good one.